One of the most unexpected firings of the 2022 coaching cycle had to have been Paul Chryst being let go in the middle of last season. They did, however, rebound in a massive way. They managed to pull one of the biggest names, one of the biggest up-and-comers in the coaching sphere by grabbing Luke Fickell, who led Cincinnati to massive levels of achievement, new heights that I don't think anybody would have anticipated from a G5 team at the time. Now, Fickell takes over for the Wisconsin Badgers, and things are going to look a lot different. It's no longer going to be the nitty-gritty, grind-you-out style of team. Instead, Phil Longo steps in, who is known for creating potent offenses. We saw what he did at North Carolina, and he's going to be bringing a pass-heavy attack to this Badgers team. It also helps that they've got new faces in that offense. Braylon Allen returns, and he is going to be a premier rusher on this team. He does have a new guy handing him the football and also maybe throwing him some passes if he works his way into the passing game with Tanner Mordecai, who comes from SMU. Mordecai was arguably the most, or if not one of the most productive G5 quarterbacks in his time at SMU. He was one of the best players at a lower level of football that went almost unrecognized. And now he gets a chance to show off what his skill set actually is, playing for a team that hasn't really had a great elite quarterback since Russell Wilson. CJ Williams also comes into the mix, who is a very explosive, talented receiver. And I think that the expectation for the Badgers is that they're going to pick up that late season steam. They're going to run with it, and they're going to be putting up way more points than we're used to seeing for them this upcoming year. I will say this, though, before we dive into their schedule. There is this expectation that Wisconsin is going to be this out of nowhere, explosive, hard to beat team in 2023. I think they're going to be very, very good, but I do not think that this is a team that finishes the year with one or two losses. That is, actually, I'm spoiling myself here. I'm not saying this is a team that's going to win their division, but they do have an opportunity to do some serious damage. And what I'm saying, and I'm leading up to this, I did kind of spoil the outcome here on what I think the record is going to be. I forgot what I actually picked for their losses. They have a really favorable schedule. I'm going to be straight with you here. They have a very, very favorable schedule. And let's take a look at it. First game is against Buffalo. MAC opponent. They beat them 1-0 to start the season. I'm going to go with an unexpected one here because they have to lose some of these games on the schedule. And I don't have them losing to Illinois, who is going to be a really tough opponent. But I think the first unexpected game that they lose, because it is going to be trying to get your feet underneath you, and you have to face off in your second game against Washington State, who is a sneaky good football team with a very underrated quarterback named Cam Ward. Remember that name. I think that if they lose an early game, and if I'm to pinpoint one of their early losable games or just losable games in general, their game traveling to Washington State fits that description. So don't get mad at me, Wisconsin fans. I think that they lose this game. That puts them at a 1-1 record at the start of the season. Now, where you shouldn't get mad at me is the rest of the schedule and how I think they're going to perform. I think that they're going to win this next stretch until they get to Ohio State. And that whole stretch features Georgia Southern, easy win, 2-1 record. At Purdue, winnable game, new head coach in Ryan Walters, 3-1 record. Rutgers, I'm from New Jersey, I can assure you, Rutgers stinks, 4-1 record. You have Iowa at home. That's a massive advantage. Victory for Wisconsin because you don't have to travel to play at Iowa, and it's also not in November. That gives them a 5-1 record. And then at Illinois, I think in an unexpected outcome, or not so much unexpected, but in a very hard-fought battle, the offensive production is going to be just a little bit too much for Illinois to keep up with. I think that they beat Illinois at Illinois, 6-1 record. Now, here's the one roadblock. I am not high on Ohio State. When I release my Ohio State video, I encourage you guys to go and comment your thoughts on my feelings on Ohio State. I think they're going to have a lot of issues, but I also think for a first-year head coach to come in and knock off Ohio State is a Herculean task to accomplish. So I am not going to put that expectation on Luke Fickell to do that in his first year. He can do it in the next year. He can do it in 2024, but it's not going to happen. I'm sorry to say that, Badger fans. That then gives them a 6-2 start to the season. They're going to run the table for this final stretch, though. At Indiana, 7-2, Indiana blows. Northwestern, that is a massive mess that we don't even need to unpack because we spent last week unpacking it. 8-2 with that victory. Nebraska, I'm not in on Matt Rule in his first year. It's going to take some time. 9-2 with that victory. And then lastly, at Minnesota, I say this on every single one of these Big Ten shows. I like PJ Fleck, but he's not beating Wisconsin. 10-2 record. Look, if you want to get upset at me for any of these picks and you want to drop a comment below, please let me know where I'm wrong. But let's be honest with ourselves here. This is a really good football team. This is a very favorable schedule. To finish 10-2, and maybe it's not Washington State that's the loss. Maybe it's Illinois that's the loss. But to finish 10-2 in your first year under Luke Fickell, as you're starting to redevelop the culture, but most importantly, run a completely new offense and also replace a few guys on your offensive line, that is going to take a little bit of time. We need to be patient. We need to wait to see how things turn out. And I think that 10-2 is a great first year for the Badgers under Luke Fickell. Again, comment what you think below, and then also hit that subscribe button. I just want to tell you folks about an exciting new partnership that we have with this channel with Underdog Fantasy. Ever since I joined, I've been having so much fun. There are so many different exciting games that make watching games during the offseason more exciting. I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but it has made it way more entertaining since I found Underdog Fantasy. And my favorite game to play so far, which I think you should try out, is Pick'em. It is so easy to play. Just pick higher or lower on your favorite player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Underdog keeps it simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile apps. Pick between 2 and 5 players to fill out your Pick'em slip, get every pick right, and take home some cold, hard cash. Use code HACK, H-A-C-K, HACK, like the name of this channel. Use code HACK to get your first deposit doubled up to $100 by Underdog. Go sign up. You won't regret it. You're going to have a blast. Check out Underdog Fantasy. I also want to tell you folks about our other recurring sponsor that we have on this channel, that being BetOnline, betonline.ag, which has all the updated odds, news, and anything for sports betting. It's my go-to source for when I want to be betting specifically on games. I love betting on college basketball or the NBA, especially, again, during the offseason. Always looking for more fun ways to be focused in on some of these other sports. It's betonline.ag and use promo code BELIEVE50. It's promo code BELIEVE50 to get 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.